Here at Wrigley Field, the Cubs played host to the Athletics, who lead the World Series 1-0 as they won Game 1 3-1 over the Cubs. Jon Lester gets the nod here, making his 4th start of the postseason. And in the top half of the first inning, he would get A.J. Pollock to line out to Jorge Soler in left field. A 1-2-3 inning for Lester. Bottom half of the first with Sonny Gray also getting his 4th start of the postseason. And bottom half of the first, Jason Heyward would start things off with a double down the left field line. Davis gets to it in the corner, but not before Heyward picks himself up a leadoff double. But then they can't get him in, as with 2 outs, Chris Bryant strikes out, and we're still scoreless. Bottom half of the second now, Jorge Soler draws a walk, so he'll take his base. He's on first. That brings up Emilio Sosa, the catcher. He's going to slap one past the first baseman. Olson sets up first and second for the Cubs. After a ground out, they would move him up to second and third, and then Albert Amora would rip one into left field. Davis gives it a dive, but it gets over him, and 1 run would come in to score 1-0 Cubs just like that. So moving to the top half of the third now, where Matt Olson is going to tie this game up at 1 with a solo shot into the right field seats. Matt Olson's 2nd home run of the postseason ties the game at 1, and they weren't done there in the top half of the third as Andy Burns comes up. He slaps one up the middle. That's going to be a single for him, so he's on first. That brings up Sonny Gray, who's going to lay down a sac bunt. But for whatever reason, Lester does not throw it. The first baseman, Rizzo, comes off the bag, and Gray is able to get a single. So first and second, nobody out. Fernandez lays down a bunt. They go the short way to get second for Gray. So first and third now with 1 out, as Solarte rips one past the second baseman, La Stella. 1 run comes in. A's take their first lead of the game, as it's now a 2-1 Oakland lead. Bottom half of the 5th, Addison Russell trying to tie the game up with 1 swing of the bat, but it's going to be just a few feet short, as that's caught at the warning track. And then, in the bottom half of the 6th, Sonny Gray gets hurt on throwing a pitch. He would have to come out of the game. He would be fine afterwards, though, but Fernando Abad comes in with no warm-ups. So lefty faces Rizzo. Looks like he's going to pop one up for an easy pop fly to Slayton, but he misreads it and it lands in front of him. Rizzo's able to go to second on the error, so he's on second. That brings up Emilio Sosa, who's going to rip one in the left field corner. Davis can't get to it, and that's going to be an RBI double for Sosa, and now it's a 2-2 tie game. And then they weren't done there, though, as Estella gets one into center field, lands in front of Pollock. They try to go home with it, but it's way offline and not in time as Sosa scores. 3-2 Cubs lead. Pedro Strop comes in the game for the 2nd time this postseason, and in the top half of the 8th, Solarte hits one in the hole. Addison Russell showing off some nice fielding skills as he retires Solarte, but then Pollock comes up the next at bat, and he rips one into the left field seats. A solo shot for A.J. Pollock ties the game at 3 for his 3rd home run of the season. So then Travis Wood comes on for the Cubs here in the top half of the 9th, tied at 3, and Kyle Schwarber clocks one into the left field seats against his former team, takes the lead 4-3 for the A's, his 4th home run of the postseason. So Tony Watson comes down in the bottom half of the 9th, and he would get the former Athletic Stephen Vogt, who came in to pinch hit, out on a ground out. Burns tosses over to first, and that's the ball game as the Oakland Athletics take a 2-0 lead in the series as they win this game by a score of 4-3 over the Cubs, thanks to a go-ahead home run in the top half of the 9th inning from Kyle Schwarber. Player of the game was Matt Olson. He went 3 for 4 with a home run on the day. Kyle Schwarber's only hit was the go-ahead home run in the top half of the 9th. A.J. Pollock had a home run that tied it in the top half of the 8th, and Yangervis Solarte was 1 for 4 with a single and an RBI. Adrian Castro gets the victory. He's now 2-0. Tony Watson gets his 5th save of the postseason, and Travis Wood gets his 3rd loss. He's now 0-3. 4-3 is your final, Oakland over Chicago. So 2-0 series lead here for Oakland as they'll be heading back to Oakland now for Game 3 next time. That'll wrap things up for this edition of Oakland Athletics Baseball. I have been your host, Jersey Born, and I'm saying goodbye.
Mouth full of cavities, and your soul's a bowl of jokes. And every day you remind me